right, we are rolling. We are rolling, and I'm here with the legendary Jeff Johnson. And I'll tell you what, like, guys, just so you know, if you're not involved in the film industry, you may not know Jeff, but Jeff is the casting director in Utah, and I say the casting director because he pretty much casts everything that comes to Utah, like a lot of the big shows that like the Disney Channel shows or Yellowstone, all go through Jeff's office. And so if you are an actor or an agent or somehow involved in film, you will know Jeff Johnson. And I've had the privilege of knowing Jeff for, man, years now because
God, it was like,
gosh,
it's been 15?
Probably about 15 years or so, because it was like High School Musical or even
High School Musical, but I think I knew you before that. I think that's the first job I ever hired you on. But
yeah, that's right. And so, so that was a long time ago, but and it's cool because, like just working in the years, you get a chance to like work with different people. And I know, Jeff, you've been casting so many different people, but what I've been so, I guess, blessed with is like just getting to know you, man. And just getting to know like the person that you are, like seriously, because the thing is, everyone puts like labels on people without even recognizing it. He's like, oh, Jeff's the casting director, and all the stuff. But what I love is like just the fact that you're just a super cool dude, and we've had like some really great conversations, and hoping to have more.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. Yeah. I mean, casting, and when you're doing local casting somewhere, people kind of put you in this different box, but it's we're just all people, so it's kind of
Yeah.
But thank you. I've had great conversations with you. I mean, it's so funny because we went with friends and talked for ended up talking for 3 or 4 hours, and we're like, I'm late for a meeting.
Yeah. And then we were like, hey, let's go voting. We've been talking about it. Exactly. And the cool thing I like about it is like, we get to a point where it's like nothing's about acting or work or anything like that. It's about like just human connection and
exactly.
And so I love that. But let's talk a little bit. There's a lot of things I'd love to discuss, but let's talk a little bit about like, first off, how you even got involved in the film business, because you are an actor as well. I remember.
I started as an actor. I mean, I did some acting in like high school, and I loved it, but I had no idea how to get into film or anything. And I plucked into basically getting an agent and getting ripped off. I mean, it's so funny because I got ripped off for my first agency. I got a black and white 8x10, and it cost me like $400. So, and I got one. But it happened to be that there was one guy at that agency that went to a legit agency and basically called me up and said, I want you to come over there. So I went over there, and my first day walking into the door, I got a job as an actor, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
And then I was hooked. I was literally hooked, and all I wanted to do was be on set. So I kind of worked my way into it in the sense that I wanted to learn. So I started taking classes with a casting director.
And was it in Utah or LA or?
This was in Utah. I started in Utah.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm a local Utah boy. I grew up there. So yeah. Awesome. And then so I kind of worked with her. I didn't realize I was learning how to be a casting director at the time, but I would be the reader for her auditions and stuff. And I was learning, but I didn't realize I was going to be a casting director at all. And then basically she moved away. I mean, I'm keeping this short because this is go for hours.
Yeah.
But she moved away, and I kind of had a producer call me out of the blue and said, hey, I remember you used to help her. Can you help me cast this next project? It happened to be a $2 million movie for a company called Lucadia Films at the time.
Okay.
And I said, sure. I mean, I was 23 at the time. I was a baby.
Yeah.
And went and did it, and they happened to be doing 10 movies back to back to back. So I just kept working for them and kind of working my way into it, and people started calling me, and long story short, this is how I ended up doing what I do. And I love it to this day. It's great.
Well, you're so great at it. I mean, you're able to like, I remember, just as an actor coming to the room, my very first times coming in, just being kind of nervous. I'm like, oh geez, like, what do I do? And the thing is like, your name kind of precedes you. And so you're like, oh gosh, Jeff Johnson, what, but then the thing is like, you have an ability to help people relax. And,
thank you.
You have an ability to like help people be like, hey, look, let's just have a conversation. Let's just get to know each other. And then you do the scene. And I feel like a lot of people end up getting like really great auditions as a result of it. Is they're able to like just really connect with you as opposed to like putting on like a crazy performance.
It's kind of, there's two different ways to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's so funny because in casting in LA, I mean, there was a lot of casting directors when I was working out in LA, and they were just mean. You would walk into the room and they would act like they hated you and that they wanted nothing to do with you. And you would be like, all right, I'm ready to read my scene. And when you're first starting out, it's kind of nerve wracking. And then I realized after a while, some of those casting directors are actually doing that on purpose. They're literally trying to see how you can handle pressure on set. So I do know casting directors that people think they are the meanest people on the earth, and they're actually really nice, but they just know that they've got to put you through their paces to make sure you're good on set. But then there's the opposite side, and I actually come from the opposite side where I think an actor should be comfortable as possible. All auditions are nerve-wracking no matter what you do. So, you know, try to make people as comfortable. I try to make sure that anybody that works for me knows that that's kind of the goal, is to try to keep people as comfortable as possible, because it's nerve-wracking already, and see what we can get from them. So
yeah, you know, I think that's really great advice, because for me, I've done, oh my gosh, probably thousands of auditions in LA, you know, just so many auditions. And one of the things that I loved about those auditions were I really got used to rejection.
Yeah.
Just got used to like knowing like how things are gonna go. Oh, dude, by the way, I think you're frozen.
Am I frozen?
Yeah, you're frozen.
Hold on.
Dude, hang on. Hang on.
Let me take.
Okay, I can hear you. Technical problems, but hey, you know, what do you do? You may have to like turn your camera off and turn it back on or something. I don't know.
I just did that. Hold on.
Okay. By the way, Jeff, I'm not editing any of these. So great. This will be awesome. We interrupt this brief intermission, or programming for a slight intermission while we figure out technical issues. Oh, wait, there's Jeff's headshot. Look at that. You go.
Hold on. I'm trying to get back to it.
Okay,
That's an old headshot. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you fine.
I have no idea what happened here. Of course, happens during this. That better?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Okay, so we were just talking. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, we were talking about like just, you know, going to auditions and getting rejected and stuff. But I think when you get over that pain of being rejected or whatever, or you go for me anyway, when I started letting go of that and just say, hey, you know what, I'm just gonna have fun with this. I mean, this is just fun. We're having a good time. I ended up booking like way more, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a process for an actor to get to that point where it's now about fun and telling the story, and not about, ooh, I'm going to get this role and what it's going to do for me, because you never know what role is going to do what for you. You have no idea. You know what I mean? You see, and so it's almost that letting go process, and it's something that has to be learned. It's not something that just goes, oh, I can let go. You know, every actor says, oh, I'm fine, I can just let go. But then there really is their process of being rejected so much till you get to the point where it's like, yeah, you know, I'm good. I'm just gonna have fun, you know. And you can tell when those actors get to that point, because they actually are really good at that. They're like, you know what, I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna tell my story. I'm gonna tell the story of this character, and I'm gonna go to my next audition. If you guys want me, great. But if not, I'm gonna move on. So you kind of get to that point, you know. Yeah. And it's nice for a casting director when we see an actor get to that point, because it's not that they don't care. They still want to tell a good story. They still want to tell this amazing story. It's just that they understand that the process of casting is a creative process, and it changes and moves, and decisions are made, and it really, in the end, it never has anything to do with anything personal. It really is about what's best for that director for that project, period.
You know, I was working on a show called Silicon Valley, and I remember the first couple seasons I did it, and it was awesome, and the writers were like, dude, like, we loved you. You were awesome. You know, it just kind of inflated my ego, I guess. But then they were like, we can't wait to have you again. And they never had me again. And I remember being like, shoot, what did I do wrong? Did I say something weird, or did I do anything wrong? But then I realized that, hey, you know what? That's just kind of how it goes. Like, sometimes storylines change and things change. And it's like, it's not like they didn't like you. It's just that's just the way.
And it's really difficult for the actor because the actor doesn't understand. I mean, there's no information given, and it's not that they never. A lot of times, stuff like that, it's not. You don't. I mean, I don't know what happened with Silicon Valley, but a lot of times it's that they want to get back to that storyline, but the story just takes them in a different direction, and they never do. And it's not because they don't want to. It's because it just never happens. It just never works out. You know, and that's the thing is, I mean, if you think about a movie, it's just a creative process with 1,000 different pieces being put into it with a project.
Absolutely.
And each piece brings a different part of the story, and then writers kind of just find their way through those stories to where they want to go.
Yeah.
You never know where it's going to end up all the time. I mean, yeah, each season you kind of have a guide, but then by the time that season's over, your next season is a different guide, and you could even get different writers at that point. So actors learn really fast. Experienced actors learn really fast that it's like, this isn't personal. This is a great gig. I'm going to take this for what it is, and then I'm going to be creative, and I'm going to keep trying with other gigs too. So
now here's an experience that happened with me, and I'm not saying this has happened to all actors. It's just me, but I remember taking acting classes, and it was interesting because every acting class was totally different from each other, you know?
Oh yeah. Now, everybody's got a different opinion on how that all works.
Everyone, has their own opinion, and some were like, you got to like really get into like your personal life and like really dig deep all these different things, and others were like, no, we just imagine it. We just create it from our imagination, And so I was trying to do different things, and I know there's so many different methodologies that work for different people.
Right.
But that being said, the moment you get to an audition or the moment you get on set, I felt like the whole thing was so different than the acting class. Does that make sense? And I'm like, holy cow. And I remember like being on set, and it felt a lot more free. It felt a lot more present and more relaxed than the things that I was like working on in class. And I'm not saying that the classes aren't important, because they are important and you are learning certain skills and all those things. I just remember thinking what a difference it felt being on, like, auditioning for you, being on set versus actually going to like
well, and I think there's a pressure in an audition that's different than the pressure on set, and class has a really hard time it's a different kind of pressure in class, because class is about doing the work. Auditioning is about trying to get the role. And once you get the role, all of a sudden now the pressure's off. Now it's just time to play.
Yeah.
And you still got to be a professional. You still got to know what you have to do. You still got to tell the story, but it's like, oh, wait, they're going to pay me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. I don't know. I just remember thinking like, I got to a point, and maybe, I guess it just kind of comes from experience and going to a ton of different auditions, that you just have to realize like, hey, you know what? I know I was honest in that audition. And I think that was the key. Like, as long as you're honest and, you be you, or you bring a version of you to like the character, and you're just kind of honest, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
A good way for me that I can tell an actor is becoming professionals, they come in and they tell a story, and it's an honest thing. It's an honest thing coming from them of how they would tell that character's story. And how they would play it. It doesn't matter whether it's a killer or whether it's just a nurse number 2 or even a cashier. They play it with an honest feeling of what they would play it, how they would do it, and they're okay with that. And that allows the director and the producers and the casting people to kind of get together and go, okay, we like what you did with this. Let's try to tweak it a little bit more to what we need. But it gives us, it gives us a tool to work with as far as the actor goes. It's the problem with actors is they always want to come in and know the answer. The answer is how to get the part, and the answer is exactly what you said. Tell a truthful thing about that character the way you would do it, not the way. And I don't care how much training you have. I don't, you know what I mean? I do want trained actors, but not the way your coach would tell you, not the way I would tell you, not the way that but. Give us something of you and how you would play this character. And that's where people, they always want the answer. They always want, well, why am I not booking? And maybe it is because you're not giving enough of you. And maybe it is, maybe it is, and the other truth is, if you're booking 20% of your auditions, you're doing great. People don't realize that.
Oh my gosh. I remember I'd go to tons and tons of auditions. I mean, just so many. And I would book like maybe like 2 or 3 TV shows, but I'm talking like tons of auditions.
Hundreds. Yeah, I
Everyone's
know.
like, dude, you're killing it. And I'm like, am I? Because I got rejected so much.
I know.
But
It's not fair to the actors. I mean, there's so many actors out there. It's not totally fair, but it is the way it happens, and that's the process they go through. So
yeah, and I think it's just awesome. But I don't know. We can talk about this forever, but I love like, yeah, you're really good at like helping people like relax and come to that level, and it's awesome. So hopefully, if you guys get anything out of this, if you're watching, if you're getting anything out of this, it'll be, hey, just relax and just be true.
Well, yeah, and even realize every casting director, every person, every producer, every director, every casting director that you're working with, they just want you to be it. It doesn't mean you are it. They're actually voting for you. And they've got things they've got to decide. They've got script requirements, number one. Do you fit their script requirements? Do they have, and then you got the director who has a vision, and do you fit that vision? There's so many things that you're trying to fit into that instead of trying to do everything for everyone, do exactly what you said. Find a truthful moment from you of how to play that character and play that character. Because that at least shows us, okay, we've got an actor to deal with now. Let's see if we can fit him into our parameters. Let's see if we can get all these things connected. Yeah. And I mean, wow, we're really getting into like, the auditioning part of this. I didn't know we were going to do
I didn't either. That's the best part. And that's okay. Well, I want to kind of shift gears just a little bit because the thing is as I've gotten to know you a little bit better, one of the things that we've been talking about, and I think this can really help, well, actors, but just anybody really, it's just about like learning to center yourself and being more mindful and present and all that stuff. Now, ever since I've known you, you've been so busy, always like working on different projects. I feel like you're always like, if it's not one show, then you got another show, you're doing commercials, like just all over the place.
The self-isolation is killing me.
I'm sure. I'm like, man, how does Jeff handle something like this, But we had dinner once, and in the dinner, we ended up talking for like hours, and one of the things that we discussed was actually about drinking more water, because like that was something that you're always doing, and then also we talked about
water right here.
You got water right here. But then we also talked a lot about like Buddhism philosophies and meditation and how that has helped you to become more centered and more present and not feel like you're, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of connected with me in the sense of I don't relate as a Buddhist, but I think like meditation practices like that has helped me become actually look at life differently. Not so much from what am I achieving type of thing, but allowing life to show me what I need to do next. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But
so actually relaxing into life, seeing what comes my way, and going towards that is probably the best way. It's in a sense, it's kind of a Zen thing. It's kind of a But and again, I've read some books about this stuff and some philosophies, but it's letting all the just actually allowing life to show you what's next. And right now, life's showing me that there's not much work. So to figure out what to do at home and to figure out what to do, you know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting because I used to think like, hey, if you ever want anything, you have to like really hustle. You have to chase it down really, really hard and everything. And that type of life led me to live like very like anxiously. I was stressed out all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have this. And suddenly, without even realizing it, I was placing my identity on the things that I didn't have, the things that I needed to like chase down and get, and if I got that role,
the things you wanted to achieve.
Right? Yeah. And instead of like you said, which I love what you said, just like relaxing into it, and the more you relax into it, it's so weird how much my career has shot up. Like the more I've relaxed into it, and because there's like a little bit more of a calmness and more of a gentleness, if you will, and you're gentle with yourself, you're gentle with other people. People can kind of sense, hey, like this guy's like, he just seems really, really fun and cool, and we just want to work with him, and it was just like a natural thing that would happen as opposed to like me chasing things down.
Yeah.
So, Yeah,
No, I think that's in any religion or anything, or you know, I really think that we have this thing of achievement. It's like, you know, yeah, I worked on a ton of projects. I've worked a long, long time, and I'm very lucky, and I do know that, and I am very appreciative of it, and I do want to keep working, and we'll see how all this pans out once we stop self-isolating and how we're going to do this. But I don't, I do realize that, you know, that things change and things move, and you know, hopefully you're working every time you do a project, you kind of realize this could be your last one. You might as well do the best job you can with it, you know.
yeah,
But there is an achievement thing. You still have to have goals, you still have to have things you want to achieve, but it's not about, oh, that's going to define me.
yeah.
It's those are the things I would like to do, and life's going to come my way, and I'm going to see how close I can get to making those and keep working towards those, I guess, is
Love that.
probably the way I look at it.
Yeah,
Believe me, I used to be just like that. I
yeah.
had to achieve. I had to be this. I had to do that. I had to, you know, and I had a big ego about it too. And you know, hopefully life's taught me enough lessons to not do that, and to just kind of be into it, you know, just
Yeah.
let's see what happens next. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Because believe me, not working, driving me nuts right now.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
gonna let
sure.
that sink.
And so, in fact, I was gonna. I guess that's like kind of the next thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
You're a man that works all the time. So when you have downtime, that's an extended period of downtime, and not of anything that you did wrong. You know, it's
Yeah.
just this is just what life threw at you, threw at everybody, I suppose.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the thing. Is like we can't like blame anyone. We're like, you did this.
Nope.
This is just what it is.
Yeah.
So, in this type of situation, how have you been able to find, I guess, fulfillment or joy or productivity?
Well, you know, it's been interesting because part of having to be downtime has actually helped me even relax more, helped me kind of let go of things that, you know, because I think we all, and I don't think this is something that I've conquered. I think this, you know, that achievement thing is still there, but I do think it's helped me kind of relax more into what you know, of just being able to be okay with myself, just be, you know, alone and just kind of do my thing. But I think what I've done is I started having to think about creatively about how this, you know, how can I cast after all this? How are we going to be able to do this, and how are we going to be able to get into, you know, and how are we going to be able to put actors on sets and things like that? And I don't have all the answers yet, but I'm starting to get some ideas, starting to get
Yeah.
some things that we can do.
What have you come up with? I mean, because I know, you know, obviously self tapes are a thing, but like we were discussing, when you don't have that interaction and when you're not able to like communicate with the actors, like, hey, this is what they're looking for, or like, you know, that type of thing.
Well, I mean, I think stuff like this might be helpful. I do think eventually, and maybe it's less people coming into the room, maybe it's more of a distancing thing, and having people come separately in less into a room for a casting director. So now we're going to have to actually narrow out people quicker, and maybe it is they self-tape first,
Yeah.
and then we bring them into the room, and we, you know, more of a callback situation. I mean, there's things that we can do. Again, I don't have all the answers because we don't know exactly how we're going to get, you know, things back to work at all yet. So
I mean, you were mentioning those points of like, hey, even when we get on set,
yeah,
how do we keep
how are they
ourselves
going
on
to do
social
this?
distance, you know?
How are two actors, you know, you're going to have, I guess we're going to have to test them. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, you have to COVID test them before you do any type of like intimate hand holding, kissing scene or anything like that, or even like the makeup artist, you know, like you said, touching their face to do makeup or whatever.
For the next, you know, until they find a cure for this, there's going to have to be some kind of idea of how we do it, and those are the things I've been kind of dealing with. I've also been trying to create stuff, you know, kind of my own little projects, nothing major, just kind of some ideas I've had for years. I'm revamping the way I actually run, you know, stuff through agencies. I've been cleaning my house. Well, I've cleaned out boxes that have sat for years in storage. So, I mean, I'm doing what everybody else is doing, just trying to stay busy.
Yeah.
I have been doing small little segments of having actors read for me online, and then I give them feedback back. Give them a scene, give them a day to do the scene, and then we do a Zoom call like this, and then they read back to me, and we try to, you know, coach them through it. And that I'm just doing just so I can keep in touch with the actors and but also so I can, so I can see how this technology is going to work for when we do get back to work.
Gotcha
So,
stuff. Well, I know, and you were also mentioning me some ideas that you were having as far as like even doing like a quarantine short, you know?
well, I mean, that would be kind of cool. I mean, I don't know how to do it yet. I mean, again, I'm more of a casting director than a filmmaker, but shoot some kind of like horror film short or even comedy short about the trials and tribulations of isolation.
Yeah.
Did I freeze again? I
You
think I
froze again. You froze again.
Oh
Yeah,
my
dang it.
gosh!
Shoot.
Hold on, 1 second.
Yeah, you're fine.
Try this again.
Okay, let's do it. All right. Oh, you're not back yet? Okay. Close.
Am I there? Okay.
Yeah, you're here. You're here.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, guys.
No.
Yeah. See, I'm working out technology issues. That's what I'm doing.
These are the issues that we have. We've got to deal with. Yeah, it's funny. I'll have to like send you this thing, but I shot this little like teaser trailer for like a horror movie.
All right.
I'll send it over to you, but it's just basically about us like suffering in quarantine. And I basically just use pieces from my reel. Like I just from stuff that I've done in the past, and I just put it together. Everyone's like, "Dude, how did you do that?" I'm like, "Ah, it's just stuff from before." But yeah, I think that like it's interesting because one of the things that you mentioned to me, which I 100% agree with, is the need for us to always be able to tell stories.
Yeah.
And
I think even more important now than ever before.
And it's crazy because like the art of meditation and being Zen and everything is to help us so we don't get attached to a story, we don't get stuck in a story. And yet stories are very important, and they can teach us some very valuable things. Right. And so I think it is extremely important to tell a story. It's just that the art of storytelling has evolved, and you see a lot of different celebrities kind of take to Zoom, or I was mentioning John Krasinski doing the Some Good News deal, where it's like, hey, you know what? We don't have like the high end stuff, but sometimes people almost relate to like the lower end iPhone quality stuff even more now,
Right.
So it would be cool. It'd be cool to like get some actors together or something, or shoot our own little short that are like, we're all quarantined, and maybe we can edit it together and make it into like some conglomerate, something or other, and see what we could come up with. Because I mean, what else are we doing?
Well, what would be really interesting, I mean, this just came to my head, is maybe get 4 or 5 actors that have their own cameras, their iPhones or whatever, that are willing to and have them try to put together some pieces of shots of how they feel about isolation. Like, a lot of them would be shots of people watching TV, because that's what a lot of us are doing, just their experience of how they feel it is, and if they could visually put together what they feel, visually how bored they get, or how anxious they get, or how, you know what I mean, and kind of edit those things together. That might be actually kind of interesting. So,
it'd be really interesting. Yeah, it'd be fun. I would love to be a part of that. I would love to see some.
I mean, literally that just came, but it might be an interesting thing to do. Who knows? I mean, and again, it's a matter of getting people together and doing this. This is the hard part of filmmaking, is usually a collaboration with a bunch of people. Yeah. And how do you get them in a room to do this? And you're going to have to do it this way and see what you can get.
And it's tricky. I mean, I was mentioning to you, like I was shooting these little sketches where it was just me interacting with myself, and that got boring pretty fast, because I was like, man, a big part of filmmaking is like the idea of like collaborating with people, like while you're there. And now that we're not able to really do that, what can we do right now? But
exactly,
I don't know. I'm excited. Like, I don't know if excited is the right word, but I'm very interested to see how the future is going to. I guess.
Oh, me too. First off, I'm excited to get back to work whenever I can. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know when that's going to be. It might be a year from now. It might be 2 months from now. Who knows? Yeah. But it's in some form. I think we'll get back to work in the next few months of some sort. But how's it going to be? What it'll be interesting. And that's part of the anxious part of me is like, okay, I need to know. I need to figure this out. And then part of me is like, I'm trying to be that. Okay, let it let's see how it rolls out. Let's see what we can do. Let's make sure we can, and so that's just like everybody else. I think, people want to get back to work. People also want to make sure they're safe. They want to make sure that their loved ones are safe, and that they, especially the most vulnerable, are safe. So it's going to be interesting how
it's going to be like, even when we get back to work, it's going to be a very slow rollout, I feel,
Yeah, I do too.
So,
I do too. No matter what we do, I think it's going to have to be. So
yeah. But what a way to start off the 2020 decade.
Yeah.
I just was like, no one saw this coming, which is insane. So
no, I didn't see it coming. I mean, like I was telling you, I had a bunch of projects coming in. They were, were getting ramped up, and as soon as all this hit, they just started one by one calling up and saying, "We're just on hold. We'll see where we're going to go from here. We're on hold. We're on hold. We're on hold." And to the point where, we were already in the middle of shooting a series, and they stopped in the middle of it, and they're going to come back and finish it. I hope. I mean, they probably will, but they just don't know when. So everything kind of just died. So if anybody out there is, there's just not a lot of work. So if you've got some work, be thankful.
Be very thankful. Yeah, especially like it is tricky, especially for filmmakers and stuff, where our jobs are really dependent on us getting together and shooting things. And so yeah, it's definitely time to put our mind together and come up with something creative that we can shoot at home.
Right. No, I know, exactly. So we got to get more creative now. So.
Yes, exactly. Well, Jeff, I really appreciate you even sitting around and giving the chance to chat.
It's really good to talk to you, man.
Yeah, man. You too. And hopefully, honestly, through this, people can get to know you better, because so many times, they just come in, they audition for you, and they're gone.
Yeah. Everybody knows me from their 2 minutes they get in my room, 2 to 3 minutes they get in my room.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, I get it. Yeah. I know a lot of people, but I know them very short.
You know a certain level of them, right? And they know you at a certain level because you're the casting director. But the truth is, and again, I'm talking to everyone here, like Jeff, if you get the chance to really know Jeff, you are a very fortunate person indeed. Because, like, seriously, Jeff, I gotta tell you, like, you have been nothing but good to me, like, through the years.
Well, thank you.
Not just as an actor, but like as a friend, and we've been able to like really have.
I consider you a friend. I mean, I know I work a lot, but I don't have a ton of friends that I do a lot with or hang out with, and I really appreciate your friendship too.
Yeah, likewise. I think you're just a good guy, and just again, like the conversations that we've had, I'm super grateful for. So hopefully everyone can get to know you a little bit more through this, and So thanks, man, for tuning in. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, take care, man. We'll see you. Okay, bye-bye.